Good morning, grade 6. Welcome to home-based learning lesson number 4 for IS class. Um, I would like to welcome you and give you the first questions that I would like for you to answer in your notes. So please hit pause on the video and answer these questions. Okay, now that you've finished answering these questions, list the 4 parts of the Republic. Explain the role of a dictator. So remember, there was the Senate, there's the magistrate, right? And then there was the plebes, right? And they formed the what? I actually forget right now. Anyways, the plebes who formed basically the people, the peasants, the working classes. As time went on, their power grew, and to which they could hold vetoes, things like that. And then there's also the role of the dictator. The purpose of a republic was to have separate powers. So the Senate would have power, the magistrates would have power, and the plebes would have power, but it would all be um, separate so that they had to rely on each other. Not all power relied with one person, which we usually saw in a tyrant, one-person leader. But the role of dictator was a really interesting part of this. Is during an event of an emergency, usually this was um, threat of invasion or war, they would declare someone the dictator, and this person had complete control over the government, the country, for 6 months. Basically, it was do what you have to do, use what you have to use, win this war, keep us safe, do whatever, and then in 6 months give the role of leadership back to the Senate and the Republic. And so that's really interesting. It's a very good theory, in my opinion. A lot of perks to incorporating things that might be slowed down through the process of debate and through regular government functions. But there's also dangers, and many of those dangers came out in the time of the ancient Romans. So we're going to start today by continuing on the from the Punic Wars. And so we talked about the Punic Wars, the new province of Sicily, how Hannibal was defeated. After Hannibal was defeated, the Romans took the province of Spain, all these other places, and for 50 years, really nothing happened. And then later, the Romans go and they finish them off for good. Um, you can read more about that if you want. But after the Second Punic War, Rome started feeling good about themselves and expanded west, okay, or east, not west, east into the land of Macedonia. We remember Macedonia because that's where the lad Alexander the Great was from, the heartland, the center of the Greek world. And so they go, they conquer it, and they made it a province. They burned the city of Corinth. You can look that up. It's a story. I include that because we have a student at our school in grade 7 whose name is Corinth, and so I'd always ask if she was feeling like she had been burnt lately. But they burned it down. They're going, and they continue to establish provinces. These provinces would supply the Roman government with soldiers and all these things. And so as they expand, they get more and more powerful, and soon nothing can stop them. They get to the Middle East. They're getting to the continent of Asia, and the king Pergamonian didn't even try to fight the Romans. He saw them coming. He's like, I'm going to give you the country to preserve himself and the power. And the Roman um, form of government and its reputation of having justice, law, order, and allowing their citizens to live prosperous lives was going before them. The reputation was Rome is actually a pretty good country, and yeah, they might come conquer you, but they offer some pretty good things for those who are living underneath them. And so he was scared of his people who would want to come and have the Romans stay, and so he just gives his country to Rome. So it wasn't all bloodshed, and it wasn't all threat and fear, but it was also through people buying into the ideas of the republic that they had. Egypt ended up signing a treaty, which led to them becoming a province, and then now Rome controlled almost all of the territory around the Mediterranean Sea. There's some parts where it wasn't controlled, but that's like the desert. There's other places, but very quickly growing. Um, they established rule and their laws throughout the lands. All these provinces are sending things to Rome, and it led to time of growth, prosperity. However, during this time, the republic started to change. As it expanded, it wasn't just a small country where senators would come and make laws. Now this is the largest country in the world at the time, and it expands farther than anything they'd ever known or hoped or dreamed. And so the Senate grew its strength, and through the Punic Wars, they basically controlled the chief magistrates and made them into puppets, using um, through the influence of money, through um, other diplomatic ways. They basically had their way with the chief magistrates, and it really lost its role in society in the time that they had and the purpose that it served. And so the Senate became corrupt. They started funneling responsibilities and resources, and when government officials become corrupt, the country suffers, and they're not servants of the people as they were supposed to be, and establishing justice. Now they are above the law and in it just for money and power and influence, and that is bad. So after this, after the wars of expansion, there was changes to the society as well. There was no all these soldiers who left to go fight and burn Corinth and do all these things. They return and their farms are overrun. Their fields aren't ready to be worked. They're hungry. It takes a while for food to grow. You can't just put a seed in the ground the next day have bread. You need to wait for it. And so these people, these soldiers are coming back hungry. They're coming back with no livelihoods. There's nothing left, years of being gone. And so there's this mass migration of people to the cities. And the cities are not ready for them. And so there's poverty, almost like slums. Lots of places in Indonesia would probably seem similar to what you would have in ancient Rome at the time. But as these people are leaving, no one, the regular folks can't afford to buy their neighbor's farm. And so the rich, who are usually higher in society to make up the Senate. They buy the land. Remember, land was a form of wealth, so the rich get richer as the poor are getting poorer. And so there's um, something about, we always, in history class, we talk about what do hungry people do, right? We know that they rebel. So for the rest of this session in class, I would like for you, and I have it in there with your partner, I would like for you to add your partner part of this till later. So with your partner, or after you're finished with your partner, create on the back of your map, actually just do it into your actual timeline that you've been working on. But start adding all the things that we have learned from the Punic Wars, the battles, the Etruscan kings. Go through it all, add it, the battle with Hannibal, the fall of Carthage, add those in, and then share it with your partner. Talk about if somebody's missing one, help them. The part with your partner is just to make sure that you haven't forgotten anything or that you missed any of them. Then please take that, submit it into ManageBack as your homework, along with the questions from the beginning for home-based learning session 4. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.